Keith Eliou is here, and I am so excited. He's going to be joining us in the weeks and months to come. This is a topic that everybody needs to talk about, real estate. But he is a guy who wears many hats. I'm going to let him explain all of that to you. He has an incredible book that we're going to be telling you about as well. But he's going to tell you how a deal can be done that's going to be good for both sides. And when it comes to that handshake on a real estate deal, it has to be a deal that is good for both sides. So, Keith, without further ado, so happy to have you here. Such a timely topic. So I want you to just explain your background and credentials. And one of the things that I just told him off the air, why I think he's going to be such a communicator that's going to be able to make sense to so many people who still find this topic at times, well, unimaginable, overwhelming, and really unattainable. He's going to make it make sense because he has worn many different hats that he still does today, and he is helping people get that deal done that is good for both sides. Good morning.
Good morning, Rob. Thanks very much. Yeah, I have a real estate company. We're going to talk about the programs, but I got into this business about 3.5 decades ago. When I got out of law school, I went into the title business. I did closings, I did title searches, and you're the last person in the loop. And people really don't want to find out about any problems. They just want you to shut up and close. So I moved into the mortgage business in the late 1980s and eventually opened my own mortgage company called Advocate Mortgage. And we've done hundreds of millions of dollars of mortgages, conventional, FHA, VA. And then after that, around 2000, I opened up a real estate company. And I became a broker, and we've been doing brokerage business for 20 years. I've been a member of the West Bend Multi-List for over 22 years. And so I handle the real estate businesses from the beginning to the end. You know, we can help you find houses. We can help you sell houses. We've got special programs that are going to save people thousands, maybe tens of thousands of dollars. And then if you need a mortgage, we can help you with a mortgage. We can do the closing. We can do the title work. And what's good about this is I can spot a lot of problems early. You know, and then it makes the transactions much smoother. A lot of real estate transactions have problems that are self-inflicted. They don't have to be problems. There should never be an emergency in a real estate deal. And you know, you get panic calls at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night, and it's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? They found an open mortgage on the title search. Well, you know, why didn't you get a title search at the beginning? You know, it costs $100. You know, you're going to save yourself money if you do certain things at the beginning. Every seller should get a home inspection, and they should get an appraisal. They're great for negotiating. You find the problems up front. You don't have to fix them. Disclose them. Tell your buyer, hey, look, you know, here's what you're buying, and you know, you're buying subject to that. And an appraisal is going to help you if somebody comes in with a very low offer. Well, here I've got an independent opinion of value. Here's how I got my number. How'd you get your number? And it works a lot of different ways. In fact, we think it's so important. What we do when you list your house with us, we're going to reimburse you for the cost of an appraisal and a home inspection, up to $1,000. You know, so we want you to have it.
And you're betting on your ability too, and that's a good thing. That gives me confidence.
Well,
in
it's going to make it a better transaction for you if you've got that information. You don't want to, the contract, the standard Pennsylvania Association of Realtors contract, the PAR agreement. There's some parts of that that really favor buyers. The contingency clause, the home inspection contingency clause, it's all buyer. And what you wind up doing, if you're a seller and you're not careful, you sign the contract and you're real happy, and then 2.5 weeks later, you get hit from the buyer with, oh, by the way, I want you to do all of this stuff that's going to cost you $5,000-$10,000, and it didn't have to be, and now you're stuck between a rock and a hard place because you've already bought another house. What are you going to do? Let that transaction go? So you think spending $500 for a home inspection is a lot? You know, wait till you get a bill for $5,000. And the contingency clause says the level that the buyer has to attain is satisfactory. If the buyer finds anything unsatisfactory, it doesn't have to be reasonable. You know, it doesn't have to have any basis. The buyer can look at the report and there's nothing wrong with it. Say, you know what? Thanks very much. I changed my mind, and they get their hand money back. And so you've got nothing. Now, you, the seller, you've tied yourself up into the transaction for 2 or 3 weeks. How many other buyers have you lost? And now you got to start all over again or give in. And it doesn't have to be that way. And then there's the liquidated damages provision that's not good for the sellers, too. I mean, we'll talk about that. But That's kind of how I got into it. So I think myself, my company's is a one-stop shop. We have everything. We've got the real estate company, we've got the mortgage company, we've got the closing company. So that's
And he's a guy from our town. He understands our city. He understands the market. So what's the best way? Give him the website and then the phone number, please.
website is my name, Keith Eliou, KeithEliou.com, and my number is 412-921-7100.
All right, 412-921-7100, Keith, KeithEliou.com. Look, I love this industry, and the multi-list has always been fascinating to me. Just explain a little bit about how the multi-list works, listing versus selling agents, and how to get paid to set up discussing some programs, too.
Yeah, well, thanks for asking, because the multi-list is a great thing. It's wonderful. It's a club. We all join. All the companies that want to join can join. And, there are fees, but you join and then you share information and you can sell each other's listings. So when you list your house with the company, it doesn't matter how big the company is. It can be exposed, it should be exposed to everybody, thousands of agents. And then when the company that puts your house on the market, that's the listing company.
Mm-hmm.
The company that brings the buyer, that's the selling company. So there's a listing agent and a selling agent. Sometimes people think selling agent, well, they're the ones that are selling my house. It's they listed your house, but then there's the selling agent, and then the commissions get divided between the companies, and then within the companies they divide that with the agents, and there are different models. Between each company's got their own type of model, and we've got programs that are we do traditional real estate. Sometimes people think, well, you're an attorney, you're not really a real estate broker. Yes, I really am a real estate broker. We really have a real estate company. We really are part of the multi-list for over 20 years. And so we do traditional real estate, and we do commission work. If you want to sell your house with the commission, we do that. We'll do it all day long. You'll save more money if you do it another way that I'm going to tell you about. But, hey, you want to do that, that's fine. And if you want to buy a house, we'll help you buy a house. And again, when we work with buyers, usually the commission is paid by the seller. That's how, even though I'm working for you as a buyer, we're getting paid from the seller.
A lot of education, a lot of information, but you're going to want to do business with him. Obviously, up close and personal, understands what your needs are. 412-921-7100. Keith Eliou, KeithEliou.com. We're going to come back and talk about a book. Speaking of education and knowledge, we'll do that when we continue. So happy to have him here today. Keith Eliou, we're talking real estate. It's your Pratt Pack. It's a Saturday morning. It's KDKA Radio. Education is knowledge, especially in the real estate industry. And this guy's going to not only help you get that deal done that's good for both sides, but he's also going to educate you. And he's obviously put his money where his mouth is. He has this incredible book revealing the secrets of how to reduce or eliminate thousands of dollars in real estate commissions. Keith Eliou is here. He is my guest. We're going to give you his number, back to more of his programs and some of the issues that need to be looked at when you're in the midst of a real estate transaction. But please tell him about this book.
Sure. Thanks, Rob. Well, that book is about the flat fee model, the unbundled services model. Again, we do traditional commission work, but I have a couple of programs. I put together a couple of programs that can save sellers, especially in this market, thousands, maybe tens of thousands of dollars. It's called the flat fee listing. We charge you $1,500 up front, and that's to get access to the multi-list, and you can pay for the services by the hour, right? $85 an hour during the day, $95 an hour in the evenings on the weekends. So once you do that, we guarantee you that you're not going to ever pay more than whatever the commission would be. So you list it for $1,500, you pay by the hour. If you pay a couple of $100 and you say, geez, I changed my mind, guess what? I tell you what, we're going to let you change one time to the commission model, and we're going to give you credit for what you paid. There's no downside. In this market where houses are flying off the market and you're selling your house in a day or a week or a month, how good do you feel when you sell a $500,000 house at a 5% commission? That's $25,000. That's after tax money. How much time did somebody really put into selling your house? Now, if you want to just pay the commission because it's easy, that's fine. But
it's nice to have a few extra dollars once in a while.
The flat fee model is a great option. Again, you pay. Here's the whole downside. The downside's $1,500. All right. Now, would you rather spend $1,500? And you're going to need some help. Okay, you're probably not going to be able to do it all on your own. So let's double it. Let's suppose you pay another $1,500. You pay $3,000. There's a chance that that's all you're going to pay instead of on a $500,000 house. $25,000, because what we also do is we share with the seller. When you're in the multi-list, I list your house in the multi-list. I agree to share the commission with all the other real estate agents. But other companies that I know of, they won't share with the seller. We share with the seller. We tell the seller, look, if somebody comes to you and says, hey, Rob, I know somebody wants to buy your house, or I think I want to buy your house. We say, okay, Rob, you call me, give me their information. I'll call them. I'll tell them I'll answer all their questions and talk to them about if they need help. If they need help and they buy your house, I'm going to reduce the selling side commission. That's on a $25,000 commission. Half is $12,500. I'm going to reduce the $12,500 by half. So you're going to save another $6,250. And if they say, Keith, you sound like a great guy, but guess what? I'm good. I don't need any help. You don't have to pay. You, the seller, you don't have to pay that selling side commission, right? So again, potentially on a $25,000 commission, you might spend $3,000. What if you spend $5,000? What if you spend $10,000? All right,
it's still a win-win.
Yeah, so that's what that book is about. It tells you, it walks you through, how to get access to the multi-list and what you need to do, and it gives a checklist in there. And I'm big on checklists. I think that preparation is what you really need.
It's key to everything.
Oh yeah. So again, that's an option. It's the hourly rate option. You don't have to do it. If you want to do the commissions, we'll do the commission. Now, again, if you do the commission model, we're going to reimburse you for the home inspection and the appraisal, and we typically have an administrative fee that is $500. All companies have administrative fees. We're waiving that too. Okay. So now, if you're a buyer and you buy from us, you hire us to help you find a house. Mm-hmm. We have a couple of programs there too on the commission side. But what we're going to do is we're going to reimburse you for the cost of a inspection, which every buyer gets, and also a boundary survey, because I get a call a month from people that bought a house and then they have a problem with their neighbor. One guy told me that his sunroom was over on the other, the neighbor's property, and those are hard problems to fix. So why don't you just get a survey? It's not required. In Pennsylvania, you don't have to have a survey, and there are different kinds of surveys. There's the boundary line survey, which is what I tell every buyer they should get, and then there's the ALTA survey, the American Land Title Association survey. Those are expensive, and they're going to plot easements. Now, you want to know about that stuff. Again, that goes back to the title search. I tell sellers, get your title search up front, because if there is an open prior mortgage, there are ways to deal with it, but you want to know about it. In fact, if you have your old title policy, and nobody has their old title policy, for some reason they've got their whole file from when they bought the house, but they can't find the title policy. But you need that. Also, we've got a couple of CPR programs. A CPR program for the buyers: commission, payment, rebate. So if you're
explain that to me.
Yeah, if you're a buyer and you want to buy a house and you say, look, Keith, I'll pay you by the hour. I'm going to give you the commission back. Right. So you know that you're going to buy a house. You're committed to buying a house. Maybe unfortunately you're getting a divorce. Right. And so that you're going to you're committed to buying a house somewhere, and you're going to buy within the next 1, 2, 3 months. Well, how much time early are you going to use? And so on that house that you buy, that's $500,000, and the selling side commission is $12,500. Let's suppose you use 50 hours, okay, and you spend $5,000. You're going to get $7,500 back that you can use toward your closing costs. Okay, now that's the hourly model. Now, if you don't want to do the hourly, you say, no, Keith, I'm not going to pay you by the hour. I don't have the money. I don't have it liquid. That's fine. What we're going to do is, in addition to picking up the $1,000 for the home inspection and the survey, and waiving the administrative fee for the buyer, we're going to pay some of your closing costs. Depending on the price of the house, we're going to pay up to another $4,000 of your closing costs. And closing costs are crazy, especially transfer tax. Transfer tax in the city of Pittsburgh is 2.5%. If that was a private industry, it would be a RICO violation. They charge the same price to record a deed that's $500,000 as is $700,000, but they charge you based on the sales price. And again, we do a commission model. We'll do it all day long. How much sense does this make? I'm going to charge you 5% to sell your $300,000 house, and I'm going to charge you 5% to sell your $500,000 house. It's the same work. It's really no different. The process is the same, but you're paying thousands of dollars more. You want to do the commission model? we'll do it, but we give you the option. In fact, we ask you to sign a piece of paper that acknowledges when you pick the commission model, because if you sell your house very fast and you look at how much you're paying, we don't want you to get disappointed and say, "Hey, I want to switch back." You can't switch back. You can switch from the hourly to the commission, but you can't go from the commission to the hourly.
All right, listen, Keith Eliou is here, of Alucard Realty. We are going to be here with him on a regular basis over the next few months, just talking about these things. And now the spring market is the market when it comes to real estate. This is just such a great opportunity for you to all get informed and educated. We told you about the book. We're going to tell you about some webinars coming up in a moment. But let me give you that number, 412-921-7100, 412-921-7100. And Keith, KEITHELIOU.com. Tell me about these webinars May 7th and 14th, please.
We're going to have half-hour seminars on Saturday mornings. One's at 9 o'clock, one at 10 o'clock. The first one is going to be geared towards sellers. The second one will be geared toward buyers. On April 30th, we're going to have one that is...
Okay, I have the 7th and 14th. So you have another one? Is it 30th?
Yeah, next week.
Saturday.
Yeah, next Saturday.
Yeah, that's the 30th.
Yeah.
Okay.
In between shows.
Okay.
And we call it pulling back the curtain. And
so where can they see these webinars?
We're going to do Zoom meetings.
Okay.
So yeah, if they email us, Keith Eliou, Keith at KeithEliou.com.
Yep.
Keith Eliou.
I got you.
We're putting together these websites, and I've got so many. I've got one for the mortgage company, one for for my legal business. And by the way, my legal business.
Yep.
I do elder law. I do some estate work.
Yep.
Right. So for the first 5 people that call and say, "I heard you on Handsome Rob Pratt's show," we're going to do an estate plan for them when they close, and that's going to include doing their essential estate planning documents: a will, a living will, a healthcare power of attorney, and a financial power of attorney. So it's a great value. The first 5 that hire us and that close with us, once they close, we're going to help them do their estate plan.
All right, you're going to want to call now. First 5, 412-921-7100, 412-921-7100. So how did he get into the real estate business and his background and experience? More on that, more about what he does. Keith Eliou, this is exciting. This is timely. Spring market, busy time of year, 412-921-7100. We'll be back. All right, Keith Eliou is here, 412-921-7100. And again, Keith, KEITHELIOU.com. And, we were talking about those webinars that are going to be April 30th, May 7th, and then he's back here on the 14th. But those webinars, the 30th and 7th, you can email him to be a part of those Zoom webinars at KEITH@ELIOU.com. Lots of stuff to get to, and we were talking during the break. Just humor me with one question. I want to ask you one question. This market, the price of houses right now and everything that's going on, buyer, seller, this is why they need somebody like you. You got the attorney degree, you're out there, you've been in real estate forever, you know the market, you have some sensible ideas and programs that you've already given us today on how you can make people pay less when the deal is done. Where do you see this whole market going? I mean, where we are right now? Because from someone who loves real estate, I keep thinking some of the prices that I'm seeing out there can't last forever, Keith.
Well, they're going to last for a while until there's more inventory on the market. There's just, there's not enough inventory.
That's the reason for this.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's more buyers than sellers out there, and there's problems. If you want to sell your house, that's great. You're going to get a big number, but if you're going to buy a house, you're going to pay a big number for the new house. And we were talking a little bit. I think when the foreclosures, when the moratorium is over and they can come onto the market, that's going to feed the first-time home buyers, I think. Well, and maybe more, but I think that'll bring some inventory on the market.
All right, registered investment advisor, certified financial planner, master of business administration, real estate broker, attorney, insurance agent, life, health, annuity. We talked about elder law, estate planning. It's amazing. So how in the world did you get where you are today? I mean, because you get the law degree, one would think, you hit the home run. That's a great degree to have, but why all the other parts of this umbrella?
They're all related. Everything that I do is related to real estate, dirt and death. Real estate, dirt, and state work, death. Because I do Medicare. Well, that comes along with doing elder law, and I don't really do investment planning right now. Again, that is a very highly regulated industry, and
Right.
you kind of have to focus if you're going to just invest people's money. But we do all the things that are related to getting older and buying real estate.
It all ties together.
It all ties together. And in the email to send your request to register for the meetings, it's keith@keitheliou.com.
Right.
Okay, and because I've got several emails, and that's
Keith
that's
at KeithLEU.com.
right.
Okay.
And the webinar next week is again, that's part of the Pulling Back the Curtain series, where we try and tell you some inside things that you might not hear from all real estate people. And we're going to talk about how to buy before you sell. And that's a big problem right now because sellers are not liking home contingencies. So that combined with the costs, we're going to tell you how you can reduce the costs of doing that. And then at 10 o'clock next week, we're going to talk about, for buyers, mortgage qualifying. And again, the programs we have to reduce your closing costs by thousands of dollars. Again, if you're buying a $500,000 house, we're going to pick up basically up to $5,500 of your costs. The following week, we're going to talk about exclusive listings and in-house commissions. That's people make that sound. It's sold like, hey, here's a great benefit for you. We're going to do an exclusive listing for you. We're going to list your house and just give our top agents access to your house to sell your house. That's not a benefit.
No.
You want it to be exposed to the whole market. And
Everyone.
Everybody. And in-house commission differences, that's where you if you work for a company and another agent from the same company sells the house, so it's all in-house, the agents get paid more. It's an incentive for them. But what does that do? They give the Heisman to the other agents from the other companies.
Right.
And so you've got a buyer that wants to buy it, but they don't get a fair shot at it.
No.
And the multi-list has tried to deal with this, and there's some pocket listings. I mean, we'll talk about some of that stuff that insiders in the industry know, but they don't really want to talk about it in the public. And then after that, we're at 10 o'clock on May 7th. Critical issues in the PAR agreement of sale, Pennsylvania Association of Realtors Agreement of Sale, that can cost you money. If you're a buyer or a seller, you got to know what those clauses are, and we're gonna go over those things. And in fact, we're gonna have more webinars in the future about the agreement of sale because it's really downplayed. If you're a real estate agent, you're not a lawyer. Really, it's the unauthorized practice of law to do anything other than to fill in the blanks. So, can your agent really represent you when you need special clauses? Maybe they're doing it and they're not following the law, but you need to be an attorney to do more than fill in the blanks.
Listen, obviously you've done a lot of research, a lot of investigating and studying, especially with how you can save people money when that deal gets closed. So let's kind of go back to the initial meeting. I decide I want to list my house. What does that mean? What is the multi-list, as we mentioned earlier? Just to kind of reiterate, we started off talking about it, but for people just joining in, and why is it so important?
Because you get exposure to the market. I hear people say on commercials, "Hey, we know where the buyers are." Everybody knows where the buyers are. They're working with real estate agents.
Right.
There are very few people out there that are buying a house without a real estate agent. There's a ton of people that have listed their house. There are a few people that do for sale by owner, and sometimes people think that I'm going to get a better deal. I'm going to save money. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you may cost yourself money. You may be leaving money on the table. But being part of if you list your house in the multis, there are things that sell your house. One of the things is being listed. Another thing is having a sign. All right, simple. Some companies want to throw in stuff that it really has limited value. If you want to pay for it on the open market, you could pay for it for very little money. Things that really have value is exposure to the market, and agents know that. They know there's a saying in the industry: you got to list to last. Because being a listing agent that puts your house on the market is easy compared to having buyers that you have to take around. And in this market, you wind up spending a ton of time making offers, and there are bidding battles, and you wind up not getting the house, and you've spent tons of hours looking for houses. And there are ways you can make an offer so you don't get caught up in a bidding battle. And we'll have to have a webinar on that one too. Listen,
I want to remind everyone that you can phone his office at 412-921-7100, 412-921-7100. Here's the website for everything. And we're throwing a lot of different stuff out there to you today with these webinars and all the other things that are happening, his law firm and all that, elder law. Just remember Keith, Keith, Eliou.com. When we come back, we're going to talk listing agent versus selling agent, something else we need to talk about. But one thing I've often said, technology will always evolve and change. But I've said this to all my friends in the multi-list industry, meaning real estate. That'll never go away. And why? Because it works, right?
It works.
I mean, it's time and tested. That multi-list works.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing, and the people that run it are very nice. They've always been, for decades, they've been very nice to me. And, they've got, there's a procedure and a process that you have to work through. And if you have an issue, they're Johnny on the spot. So, we appreciate working with them.
You love this, don't you?
Yeah.
I love talking about it, too.
Real estate's fun. Everybody wants to talk about real estate.
And no matter what anyone says, when you pull up that first time and that for sale sign is gone and you're standing on that land that you now own, even if maybe the bank owns it for 30 years, it's still yours. It's still the biggest investment and the best investment you'll ever make.
Oh, undoubtedly. If you've bought a house a couple of years ago and you're selling it now, you're making gangbusters.
Oh, good stuff. Keith Eliou is here. He's going to be back with us again on May 14th, but we're going to come back for one more segment. Please stay with us. Keith Eliou, we're talking real estate, stuff that needs to be talked about, and I hope that you're really taking as much from this as I am. He'll be back on May 14th. Listen, just quickly before we talk mortgages, because I know you want to spend the majority of the time talking about that, just listing agent, selling agent. These are some of the terms, multi-list and others, things that we've been talking about from the jump, the very first part of the program. We're going to continue to talk about because these are the rules of the road, things that you need to know. So before we get to mortgages, listing agent, selling agent, please.
Yeah, well, listing agent, again, that's when you list your house, you're listing not with a particular agent. You're listing with the broker, the company that person works for, okay? And that's the listing company. They put your house, they're marketing your house. The company that brings the buyer, again, it's the buyer works for another company. So the agent's not really it's the selling agent, but the selling agent works for a broker. And that's this, people think, again, selling, well, no, this agent that's marketing my house is selling my house. No, they listed your house. They're marketing your house. The company that brings the buyer, they're the selling agent.
Okay.
And again, there are different models with it. It doesn't really matter to consumers what happens to the commission, but they all get divided up differently depending on the model that the agent works for. As you get more experienced and get your own clients, and you don't rely on the company to bring you clients, well, you move to a model that you can get a bigger part of the commission typically. Again, that's commission model, and we do commission model all day long, but we have hourly rate options that on this market, if you're a seller and you're not looking at the flat fee listing, I think you're making a mistake. It's not good for me. I make a whole lot less, but it's good for the consumer. And if the consumer,
that's your job.
Well, we don't need to make $10,000 on every transaction.
No.
We do a lot of transactions. We do a lot of mortgages. Oh, by the way, the book, if anybody wants a copy of the book that goes over the unbundled services model, the flat fee listing model, if you go to my website, keitheliou.com, you can click on it and you can get a free PDF of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
See, Rob thought I gave him something special.
Yeah,
I gave him a book. You can get it for free.
I'm like, and what's nice, it's in big print too, so it's easy to read and very informative. And I mean, he talks about negotiation of the contract. Every offer should be appreciated, and I love that fact. And we talked on and off the air. It's about respect always being the foremost thing in everyone's mind. Types of buyers. What else has he got here? I know your legal documents something he can handle.
Yeah, you really should. Yeah, you should look at the agreement of sale long before an offer comes in. If you're only seeing the agreement of sale when an offer comes in, I think you're making a mistake if you haven't read it because, again, if you're a seller or a buyer, there are different provisions in there that favor one side over the other. And, the mediation clause, I think, is good for the seller, but not so necessarily so good for the buyer.
Okay, let's talk about dollars that make sense, mortgages, and there's a lot of different aspects of that out there. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, my company, Advocate Mortgage Services, we've been in business for decades. We've done hundreds of millions of dollars in mortgages, and we get calls before people put their house on the market. And obviously, in this market, if you're going to buy a house, your agent's going to tell you, hey, look, you got to talk to a mortgage company. And we qualify people, and it's more than just say, okay, tell me your income, tell me your debts. You got to structure some of these transactions and you have to know what the rules are so you can make people, get people qualified for what they want. Now, sometimes I qualify people for a lot more than what they feel comfortable doing. Well, that's a good thing. But, if you want to qualify for the most money, you need somebody that's experienced. And again, I've been doing it for over 3 decades. And you can use things like the easy thing is seller assist, right? If you're selling your house for $100,000, you bump it up to $103,000. You pay $3,000 for the buyer's closing costs. The buyer's effectively financed $3,000 of their closing costs. That's the easy part. But let's suppose you've got debts and you've got too much debts, but you got a lot of cash. Well, maybe we pay off some of the debts at the closing, not in advance, with some of the cash you have, or maybe you've got loans that are preventing you from qualifying for what you want, but you've got a 401k. Guess what? A loan against a 401k doesn't count as a loan. The mortgage payment doesn't count. So sometimes you can take some money from the 401k and pay off a debt and help you qualify that way. And you got to watch what you're counting as income and what you're counting as debts, because alimony and child support, there's special rules for that. Alimony can be a debt, or you can just reduce it from the income. That's a newer rule from Fannie Mae. And we do FHA and VA loans. So, VA loans are 100% financing. FHA loans, they're expensive. FHA loans, you're going to pay an upfront mortgage insurance premium that's non-refundable, and you're going to pay monthly. If you have to, if you got credit issues and you don't have a whole lot of money, yeah, you can go FHA. But sellers aren't taking those deals these days. Sellers want conventional financing. Yeah, they'd rather have cash, but conventional financing, and you can do it with 5% down. But you don't have to. I mean, if you're a first-time home buyer, there's some 3% down programs, but they're based on income. And student loans are a big problem in qualifying these days too. That's another issue. People have so much debt that the school loans are preventing them from qualifying. But there are income-based repayment programs where you can get a very low monthly payment. Can't use that on an FHA loan, but you can use it on a conventional loan.
Just while we're talking money, two things: hand money and money down. I still believe it's important. You got to put a percentage money down. I mean, some people, you see no money down. To me, I just think that's the wrong way to start. And hopefully you're in a position to do so. But what about hand money and the percentage? 5, 10, 15%? What do you think?
Well, let's talk about hand money, because hand money, you can give somebody $50,000 in hand money if you're a buyer. As long as you've got a contingency in there, you're going to get it all back if you change your mind. It's really, if it's not non-refundable hand money, is it better to have more than less? Yeah, it can. But if there's even after you clear the home inspection contingency, if there's a mortgage contingency and somebody loses their job,
right?
That all goes back to the buyer. Again, that's the agreement of sale sometimes favors the buyer. In fact, the liquidated damages clause, that really favors the buyer, because the buyer, you're tied up. The buyer gives you $5,000 in hand money. You go to closing. You think, okay, this is great. I'm all done. Buyer says, you know what? We just found another house, and it's less money. Keep our $5,000. Thank you very much.
Win-win. Move on. And
does $5,000 really compensate you? I mean, that's what hand money is supposed to be for. It's to compensate the seller in the event of a loss. I don't like the liquidated damages clause unless it applies to the buyer too. Tit for tat, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. But that's why you got to get the agreement of sale in advance. You got to get it early. You got to read it so you know what your options are. And then in addition to the agreement, which is 13 pages, maybe it's 14 pages now, it's going to undergo a revision. But there are the addendums, and so if you're going to have an appraisal contingency addendum, sellers, there are 3 different standard types of home sale contingencies, and people don't know about that either. If I'm a seller, I can say, yeah, you can buy my house, but I'm going to continue to market it, which means that if somebody else comes along to buy the house, I don't even have to let you know. I can sell it to somebody else. But, do sellers know about that?
This is the person I want to be listening to this show today, who has that thing in their yard that says house for sale by owner. I want you to pull that out of the yard, and I want them to call you, because I still believe people who think they're saving money selling their house on their own, they're actually doing themselves more harm than good.
I think that a lot of sellers have left money on the table. They think that,
What you've told me over the last 50 minutes, I can think of 4 occasions where you've brought up saving money, and that's rare.
Well, in addition to what I bring as an experience, again, as an attorney, as a real estate broker, I own a mortgage company, I do title work, I do it from beginning to end, and I've done it for decades. We can save you money. We got programs.
I'll see you on May 14th.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Well, thanks a lot.
Good stuff. All right, 412-921-7100, 412-921-7100, Keith Eliou, and that's Keith, KEITHELIOU.com. Let me give you that number one more time, 412-921-7100, 921-7100. Like I like to say, real estate news you need to hear. Keith Eliou, Pittsburgh Works, KDKA with Rob Pratt. Good morning.
How long does it take to tackle a home project? With Angie, you could cross it off your list before this ad is over. Just tell us what you need, indoor or outdoor, repair or redesign, and we handle the rest, sending a top pro to get it done. You don't have to lift a finger, except to tap the screen or click the mouse. Plus, Angie is free to use. So bring us your next home project, and we'll bring it home. Download the app or go to Angie.com. That's ANGI.com to get started.
Spend less time in the laundry room and more time doing the things you love. Introducing the Samsung Smart Top Load Laundry Pair, now available at Lowe's. The washer's large capacity means you can fit more in every load. Plus, its super speed setting washes a full load in only 28 minutes. Shop the smart washer that will streamline laundry day, backed by Lowe's Price Promise. Based on using super speed on a normal cycle with an 8-pound load. Terms apply. See Lowe's.com/price promise for details. U.S. only. U.S. only. U.S. only. U.S. only. U.S. only.